Hey everybody, so it is finally time to do a Seattle expansion mock draft. I wanted to do this sooner, but I've just been so busy with work recently that I never got the chance to sit down and actually do it, but this expansion draft is tomorrow night. I will be live tomorrow night for the expansion draft to see how it goes, reacting to everything that happens in all of Seattle's picks and whatnot. And I wanted to make sure I did get this done before, obviously, actual draft day. So the protection lists are out. We know who's available. We know who isn't. And what we're going to do right now is go through using Cap-Friendly's Seattle Expansion Draft Simulator, which makes this really simple and easy. So shout out to Cap-Friendly for that. And we're going to do a mock draft here for Seattle and what they might do come tomorrow night. And we'll see tomorrow how many of these picks they agree with me on and how many they differ. So let's switch over to Cap-Friendly right now. Just want to say, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. It helps the channel an absolute ton. But let's get into it here. Again, if you go to the interactive part of capfriendly.com, they have a Seattle expansion draft simulator, and it makes this really, really easy. So you know you've got the correct amount of players at each positions. You know that you're not over the cap or not below the cap floor. So it really makes it simple to make sure that you're doing this properly in a way that could actually happen. So we're just going to go through it team by team. We have the whole list of available players here. We're going to go team by team and take a look here at what Seattle might do. Again, I don't know if this is kind of a mix of what I think Seattle might do or will be doing and a little bit of what I would be doing if I were the Kraken, if I were Ron Francis. Obviously, tomorrow we'll find out what Seattle actually does. But starting with the Anaheim Ducks, this one to me, Hayden Fleury kind of sticks out. He's a guy who is under contract for another year. 25-year-old defenseman that can play both sides. And I still think there's some untapped potential there with Hayden Fleury. So I'm interested to see what he could do. I think Anaheim doesn't have a whole lot out there available. I think Hayden Fleury would make a lot of sense for the Anaheim to take from the Anaheim Ducks. Arizona, there is not much here to pick from with the Arizona Coyotes. To me, this is probably going to come down to two guys. I think they're going to go either Tyler Pitlick or Christian Fischer. And because Fischer is 24, younger, and obviously under contract for another season, he'll be an RFA next offseason. I'm going to go Christian Fischer there, right winger from the Arizona Coyotes. But again, there's not a lot of great options there to choose from. For the Boston Bruins, this to me comes down to either Connor Clifton or Jeremy Lauzon. That seems to be where everyone is thinking that it's going to be one of those two guys. Clifton is 26 years old. I think Clifton's kind of is what he is at this point, where he's a depth guy. He can, be a bottom pair D-man, or he can be a seventh defenseman, but you kind of get what you get with Connor Clifton. Jeremy Lauzon, I think, he's 24. He's a couple years younger. I think there's a little bit more upside with Jeremy Lauzon. So if I'm Seattle, I'm taking Lauzon over Clifton. And that's my second defenseman here taken. Buffalo Sabres. This is a really interesting one. Because Buffalo really is not giving you much to choose from. Obviously, you're not taking Jeff Skinner's contract. You don't want Kyle Okposo or Cody Eakin. You don't want Zemgus Girgensons. I mean, there is really not much to pick from here with the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, it's probably going to be a defenseman. I would say Jake McCabe, but he's a UFA, and obviously there would be no guarantee that he would sign with Seattle. So I'm going to say William Borgen. I mean, Borgen's 24 years old. He's a right shot D-man. He is an RFA this offseason, but at least, you have his rights, and you would retain his rights. I think William Borgen would be the best bet there for from Buffalo. Calgary Flames, this one seems to be pretty much known already that they're going to be taking Mark Giordano from Calgary. That's what it seems like right now anyway. Everything I've read about it has Giordano going to Seattle. So veteran D-man there. Who has 1 year left on his contract. Seattle could possibly maybe move him at the trade deadline if, they're well out of contention or something like that. But it looks like Giordano is going to the Kraken. God, a lot of defensemen already here. So Carolina's up next, and there's some interesting options here from the Carolina Hurricanes. Obviously, they're a good team. They've got a lot of good young players. If you want to go forward here, I think Nino Niederreiter is definitely a possibility. If you're if you're taking more of a win now approach, if you're Seattle, then Niederreiter is an opportunity. If you're taking more of a youth approach, maybe someone like Morgan Geekie, 23-year-old center who hasn't really made that jump to the NHL yet, but is kind of right on that cusp. With a young team or a new team like Seattle, he might get more NHL time. But to me, if I'm taking the best guy available, I'm taking Jake Bean. I mean, this guy is developed for a long time down in the minors. This past year, he kind of played a lot more at the NHL level. And there's, again, similar to Hayden Fleury, I think Bean could actually be better than Hayden Fleury. I think there's a lot of untapped potential here. And obviously, he's an RFA, but Seattle would retain his rights, and they'd be able to sign him and whatnot. So I would probably go with Jake Bean, and that is already 5 defensemen for the Kraken here. We got to get some forwards going for sure. So, all right, let's try and get a forward from the Chicago Blackhawks. And again, Chicago does not have much available here that's worth taking, but someone that I think might be worth a shot is Adam Gaudette. Obviously, he was a big-time scorer in college. He obviously hasn't fully worked out at the pro level the way that, Vancouver originally hoped. They ended up trading him to Chicago. I would like to see Adam Gaudette maybe get a chance with a team like Seattle to try and win a job in camp and see if he can become a third-line player. But I think Gaudette, out of everyone here for Chicago, he's worth a shot. And another young forward here, 24 years old. I think you might as well give him a chance. Colorado here. Colorado obviously gives Seattle a lot to choose from. There are some very, very decent options here for the Seattle Kraken to take from the Colorado Avalanche. But for me, I think this is going to come down to either Jonas Donskoy or JT Compher. And Compher, a lot of people are having Donskoy go, and I think probably Donskoy is the one that ends up going. But Compher is 3 years younger and less cap hit, and their contracts end the same year. So 3 years younger with Compher, who I think is a really solid middle six guy. For my mock draft, I'm going to go with JT Compher here. Obviously, Donskoy is a guy that can give you 20-plus goals and can score, and has been a good player throughout his career. But Compher's 3 years younger and on a slightly lesser contract. I'm going to take him there. Columbus. All right, this is an interesting one. So I've heard, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Max Domi. Me, personally, Max Domi is not someone that I would want on my team at this point. This guy has been run out of everywhere that he's gone. He's really had bad seasons the past 2 years. He's not on a good contract at $5.3 million. I don't want to pay Max Domi over $5 million, and I think he's kind of damaged goods at this point. To me, this is coming down to Kevin Stenlin or Gabriel Carlson, and I'm going to go with Kevin Stenlin. He's a big forward that I still think has a lot of upwards potential as a 24-year-old. He's an RFA when his contract expires, not a UFA like Domi, so that would give Seattle some more control there. I'm going with Kevin Stenlin from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Dallas Stars. This is an interesting one here. Dallas doesn't have a ton of great options here. And then obviously you have the big question mark of Ben Bishop. Now, if Ben Bishop is healthy, he could have some value either on the trade market, or if Seattle wanted to keep him as one of their goaltenders. We know Drieger is going there, 99% sure that Drieger is going there, and that's coming up in a few picks. But honestly, I would take Bishop. Now, I would need some information on his health because he missed all of this past season. He missed most of the playoffs the year before. So he hasn't really been healthy recently. But if you knew that he was going to be able to play this season, His contract only has a couple more years left on it. I would take Bishop. You could possibly work him into a trade, or you could keep him as one of your goaltenders to go along with Driedger. And I think that there would be options there. And Dallas really doesn't have much else to choose from. So I'm going to take Bishop from Dallas to get a goaltender on the board. Detroit, this is another interesting one here. I don't think there are a lot of great options for the Red Wings. A lot of these guys are UFAs, which to me, it doesn't really make much sense to take a UFA because there's no, there's no guarantee that they sign, and you could just wait till July 28th and sign them if you wanted them that badly. I mean, it's not like they're high-end UFAs. Like, I could see Seattle taking a UFA if there was going to be a big market for them. And then, you would get those, days before free agency to try and get a deal done because you would have their rights. But I don't know. I've heard there's been a little bit of talk about Nemesnikov, but he's never really panned out. For me, Dennis Cholowski is the guy. He's still young at 23 years old, left shot D-man. I think Cholowski still has some potential upside at the NHL level. He had that one breakout-ish season with Detroit and then kind of has taken a couple steps backwards the past couple of seasons, but he's still just 23. I think that there's room to grow there, and he would be my pick from Detroit. For the Edmonton Oilers, this is an interesting one because you've got UFA, RFA, and Lagesson hasn't really turned into much. Russell, you would not want. Clefbaum's probably not going to play, so you got to go with a forward here. I think Dominic Cahoon could be a possibility, and I think Tyler Benson could be a possibility. Obviously, Cahoon is older, kind of is what he is. Can be, kind of a third-line secondary scorer at the NHL level. Tyler Benson has put up some big numbers in the AHL, but hasn't really taken that step to the NHL to where he's been in an NHL lineup full-time. I think I wouldn't have a problem with either pick. I think Seattle might go Benson, though, because he's 23 as opposed to Cahoon, who's 26. I think Benson might have a little more value there because of the age. So we'll take Tyler Benson for Edmonton. Florida, this is already pretty much known. It's going to be Chris Driedger, the goaltender. Obviously, he's a UFA, but there are a lot of reports out there saying that him and Seattle already pretty much have a deal in place. So I fully expect Driedger to be going to Seattle. LA, this is an interesting one. There are a few options here. You could look on the defensive side of things with maybe someone like an Oli Mata or a Cale Clegg who never really worked out the way that the Kings were hoping. You're not going to go Jonathan Quick because if you're taking Ben Bishop, there's your veteran goalie there. You're not going to take Quick too. There's a couple of interesting options up front. I think Athanasiou possibly. I mean, that he's at least going to be in the NHL lineup. Austin Wagner potentially. But for me, I like Brendan Lemieux here. I really do. I mean, I like Brendan Lemieux's game in general. I think for Seattle, you're going to want some toughness in your lineup. You're not going to want to be getting pushed around in your first year. And you know that Lemieux can play on the fourth line. He's a guy that is going to be your everyday fourth line left wing. And I wouldn't mind that contract because, again, look, I mean, I don't think Seattle's going to have any problem as far as you're reaching the cap ceiling. I don't think they're going to have any issue hitting the cap floor either, but I don't think they're going to have salary cap issues. They're not going to have to watch that. So Lemieux at $1.5 million is fine for a fourth line guy, and he'll at least bring you some excitement to that fourth line. Minnesota here. There are some options here with Minnesota. I think there are some interesting young players up front that they could look at. I think Carson Soucy on the back end is an interesting possibility, But I already have a lot of defensemen picked in this mock draft, and there's a goaltender that they have that had a really, really solid year last year, and I think has a lot of upwards potential, and that's Kaapo Kähkönen. Thought at times last year he looked like he could be a potential future starting goaltender, and again, with the question marks surrounding Ben Bishop, you could go with a duo of Driedger and Kapanen next season, and then use Bishop as a trade piece and trade him before this, draft him in the expansion draft and then turn around and immediately trade him somewhere. Because if he is healthy enough to be able to play next season, then I think there would be somewhat of a trade market for Ben Bishop, because he, when he's healthy, is a good goaltender. And then you could have Kähkönen and Driedger as your 1-2, A-B combo in net next year. I like Kapanen here from Kähkönen there from Minnesota. Kaapo Kähkönen would be my pick from the Wild. Montreal, obviously there's been a lot of talk about Carey Price. I don't think Seattle's going to take Carey Price. That contract is huge. There's health questions now. The league has already pretty much said that they're going to shut down a situation where Seattle drafts Price and then immediately trades him back to Montreal, but retains salary and, basically takes money off the books for the Canadiens. The league says that they're not going to allow that to happen. So I'm not looking at Price here. I think Brett Kulak on the back end could be an interesting possibility, but my pick might surprise people. Jonathan Drouin. I don't think Drouin wants to be in Montreal anymore. Obviously, he's never really lived up to his draft status, but Seattle is going to need some guys who can play at the NHL level next season. As you can see, as I've gone through, I've taken a lot of kind of young players. Seattle does need some guys who they know are going to be in the NHL lineup next year. And, obviously there's question marks surrounding Drouin. He didn't play for the Canadiens at the end of the season or at all in the playoffs. And there, we don't really know why. It was just kind of personal reasons was what we were told. So we don't know exactly what's going on there, but I think a fresh start for Drouin, where he's definitely going to be playing in the top 6 on a team like the Seattle, that could be an option. And I think, if you know that he's going to be willing to come in and play, if you're Seattle, then you could go in that direction, and he would definitely be a top guy for the Kraken. Nashville. Okay, there's some interesting possibilities here with Nashville. Obviously, Nashville would love to get rid of either Johansson or Duchesne's contract. However, that would not be something that Seattle's just going to take off their hands for them. Like, that would have to involve a trade or something else involved here to, a draft pick going to Seattle as well to take a contract like that. That's not something that's going to happen where Seattle just takes one of those guys. So for me, I think Calle Jarnkrok is likely the guy to go for Nashville. Colton Sissons is another guy that possibly could get looked at as kind of a depth forward. But Jarnkrok has shown some good middle 6 scoring ability. And I think he's been a solid player for a long time. So he's my pick from the Preds. New Jersey. This is a player that I really, really like. It's Nathan Bastian. I think he could make a really good 4th-line right wing. And again, I have Lemieux on the left side on the 4th line, Bastian on the right side. That would be a physical 4th line that would be fun to watch. Definitely get the crowd into it, get the crowd going. You know that they're going to be banging guys through the glass. I like Nathan Bastian a lot, and he's my pick from the Devils. Islanders, it's going to be interesting. The Islanders have options, or Seattle has options as far as who they take from the Islanders. I think it's probably going to come down to Jordan Eberle or Josh Bailey. Obviously Bailey is $500,000 cheaper. They're on, they're the same age. They both play right wing. Actually Bailey, I think can play the left side too. So, Bailey can play either side wing. Eberle pretty much plays the right side. But they're both UFAs in 2024, so they have the same amount of time left on their contract. Again, Bailey's is a little bit cheaper, but I think Eberle is the better player, and Eberle would probably bring more in a trade as well if down the line Seattle was, out of playoff contention and trying to move him at the deadline, I think Eberle would bring more. So my pick, if I'm Seattle, would be Jordan Eberle. I definitely think he could potentially be the pick tomorrow night. New York Rangers, there's really not a ton here to pick from the New York Rangers because they were able to protect a lot of their important pieces, and then obviously have so many young pieces that they didn't even have enough time to be exposed yet. So there's not a lot here. I'm taking Julian Gaucher. Gaucher is a 23-year-old right winger, kind of along the same lines as some of the earlier guys I picked, like Stenlin and Fisher, who are kind of those guys who haven't really made it at the NHL yet, but do have some untapped potential and will have a chance to get more minutes on a team like Seattle, most likely. Ottawa, I mean, if you're going for win now, Evgeny Dadonov definitely stands out here. But so far, I've kind of gone in a mostly young direction in this draft. There's not a lot of young, because again, similar to the Rangers, the Senators are so young that they get to, protect a lot of their important pieces. And some of those guys are even exempt because they haven't been in the league long enough. So they didn't even have to protect them. So I'm going to take Chris Tierney. I don't have a lot for centers down the middle. I think Tierney's a really solid kind of third-line center. So I'll take Tierney from Ottawa. From Philadelphia here, Gostisbehere, if you're taking a player to keep, I think Shane Gostisbehere is the guy. But I think that Seattle's going to do some sort of draft Voracek, retain salary, but trade him, and are going to be able to move Voracek somewhere while retaining some of that salary and taking a cap hit. So I think there's going to be some sort of deal worked here where Voracek ends up with Seattle, but then they retain salary and trade him somewhere else and get a pick for basically facilitating that deal. So if that does happen, Jacob Voracek, if they're picking somebody to actually keep, I think it's going to be Shane Gostisbehere, but we'll see. I'll take Voracek because I do think some sort of trade is going to happen there. Pittsburgh, there's some interesting options with the Pittsburgh Penguins here, especially with their forwards. Zach Aston-Reese, Brandon Tanev, Jason Zucker. I don't think Zucker would make a lot of sense, 29-year-old left winger. I mean, unless you're really going for a win now, but I don't think this team's going to really be good enough to win right now. So I don't think Zucker, unless you're going to maybe trade him after, but I already have a couple guys in mind that I think that they're doing that with, one of them being Voracek, who I just took with the Flyers, and they can only retain salary on, I believe, 3 players. So if they trade Bishop and they trade Voracek, that only leaves 1 spot left. I'm going to take Brandon Tanev because I think Tanev could be a really solid middle 6 guy for a team like the Kraken. He brings a lot of energy. He's a good locker room guy. Gritty player, just a good guy to have on your team, and I think Tanev could be really, really solid there. So I'll take Tanev from the Penguins. San Jose Sharks, I'm taking Dylan Gabriel. 4th line center. I mean, what a 4th line that would be as far as like just energy and having a physical, energy-driven 4th line with Lemieux, Gabriel, and Bastian. That would be a really fun line to watch. I'd love that. I'd love to watch that if I were watching the Kraken. So I'm going to take Gabriel, 24-year-old center from the San Jose Sharks. St. Louis, this is the last draft and trade guy, Vlad Tarasenko. Now, if you're picking a player to keep, I think it's going to be Vince Dunn, because Vince Dunn would absolutely be a top 4 guy for Seattle. But I think that there's going to be some sort of deal in the works where they take Tarasenko and then are able to move him, and they'll probably retain salary. So there's all 3 retain salary spots. Draft and trade. I don't know if they'd have to retain on Bishop. He's making less than $5 million, so they might not have to. But if they were to draft and then trade Tarasenko, they'd definitely be retaining salary. And same thing with Voracek. If they were drafting and then trading Voracek, they would absolutely be retaining salary. But we'll take Tarasenko. But Dunn definitely would be a guy if they were keeping. I think Dunn would be the guy, because they're not going to take Tarasenko and then keep him, because that would be something where they would have a trade set up. Tampa Bay. Man, I think Yanni Gourde's the choice here. Yanni Gourde is the choice here. Obviously, we've seen what he's been able to do. He's been a great third-line center and could potentially play second line on a new team like this. I'm taking Yanni Gourde from Tampa. I think, obviously, there are some great options. Tyler Johnson, Alex Killorn, Andre Palat. I think Cal Foot's an interesting guy. 22-year-old right-shot defenseman. Definitely would think that Foot would be on the table as well. I think it might come down to either Gourde or Foot. I think both of them are definitely on the table. Foot definitely could be interesting. Let's see. Toronto here. Toronto, it's either Kerfoot or McCann. It's going to depend. It's going to be one of these two guys. It's tough to say which one. For the sake of this, I'll say Jared McCann, because I really like Jared McCann's game and what he's been able to do over the past couple years in Pittsburgh. And I think he could definitely play a second-line role in Seattle. So we'll take McCann. Oh, boy. Vancouver. There's not a lot to choose from here for the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going to say Cole Lynn, 22-year-old right winger. He's got some options. I'm just noticing now I'm not going to have enough defensemen. So hang on. We're going to go back and fix something. Now, Tampa could take Cal Foot. Or, yeah, all right. Let's say if they're going to take Voracek, I'm going to say this. They don't take Voracek. They do the draft and trade thing with Tarasenko. They're going to take Gostisbehere from Philly. There. That will set me up for D-men. They'll take Gostisbehere from Philly, not Voracek. And then they'll maybe help facilitate a Voracek deal later in the offseason. But that will give me another defenseman that I'm going to need. And then they will do the draft and trade retained salary thing with Tarasenko. Maybe that's a possibility here. And then that brings us to Vancouver. Cole Lind. Young forward. There's just not much to pick from here with Vancouver. Washington, Brendan Dillon is my guy from Washington. I think he can come right in and play a significant role for Seattle. I love Brendan Dillon's game. I have his entire career. Physical, good stay-at-home defenseman. Not afraid to drop the gloves. Brings some good depth and good toughness to the table. I like him a lot. And I need another defenseman from Winnipeg. This is the last one. Dylan DeMello. DeMello makes a lot of sense to me. Right shot D-man. UFA in 2024, so he's still got some time left on his contract. And again, a guy that can come right in and play. So, there you have it. So if we scroll back up and take a look at my team, I am under the salary cap. I am obviously well over the cap floor. I've got the right number of players at every position. And let's take a look here quickly. My forwards are Vladimir Tarasenko, Jordan Eberle, Jonathan Drouin, Yanni Gourde, Brandon Tanev, Chris Tierney, JT Compher, Jared McCann, Calle Jarnkrok, Brendan Lemieux, Dylan Gabriel, Kevin Stenlin, Christian Fischer, Nathan Bastian, Julian Gaucher, Tyler Benson, Adam Gaudette, and Cole Lind. My defense is Mark Giordano, Shane Gostisbehere, Brendan Dillon, Dylan DeMello, Hayden Fleury, Jeremy Lauzon, William Borgen, Jake Bean, and Dennis Chalowski. And my goaltenders are Ben Bishop, Capo Kakkonen, and Chris Drieger. Bishop is a potential trade guy that you would just draft and then trade to get something for. And I think that Tarasenko very much is that as well, where you would draft him and then trade him again this offseason. But there you have it, my Seattle expansion draft. And we will see what they actually do. And obviously, I don't know who they're actually going to pick and whatnot. But this was just fun to go through. And again, I think that there are multiple options from each team. Like a team like Philadelphia, maybe they take Gostisbehere, maybe they take Van Riemsdyk, maybe they take Voracek, there are options there. For a team like St. Louis, maybe they take Tarasenko and do the draft then trade thing, or maybe they just take Vince Dunn and play Vince Dunn. That's a possibility. And there are other teams out there too with multiple guys that they could take. So this was obviously just a mock. It was just kind of a fun thing to go through. And we'll find out tomorrow what guys that they actually take in this draft. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, Patreon, merchandise store, donation link, and memberships are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.